Morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order at 9:15. Umzi, you want to do roll call, please?
I sure will. District 1?
Here.
District 2? District 2? District 3 is here. Secretary Treasurer? Secretary Treasurer? Absent. We do have a quorum.
Yeah, I know a couple of council members are all right now. Kathy is on her way. Alan's out on personal leave, so we will move forward. We will review and approve the agenda now, so. I know we have a few things that we want to add to this, so. Ben, did you get that email then? You on it?
No, I did not. I went through my emails and I don't see it.
I'll send it right now. Did you find it, Liz?
No, I didn't.
Okay. It's on that grant flexibility for housing.
Oh, I just received it, sir.
Anything you add, Adams?
No.
I know we're still getting bids for the sanitation equipment, so that'll be coming up real soon, probably next week. So hopefully we'll have that ready to go. Any word from day labor?
No, I think, she sent me an email and I know they're gonna do another meeting together. I think Monica had reached out, they were waiting for stuff from sanitation. I think she got that info and I think they're just gonna have another meeting together again. I know Doreen is working out some stuff too. She's got, her one staff member, or I think 2 of her staff members have come back, or maybe 1. So
I think they're both back.
I think they are. I think they're both back. So they were gonna pull that old plan that they had, rework it, and get something together for us to look at.
Okay, so maybe have them be in the meeting next week too.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, motion to approve the agenda. Second?
Second.
Second by Ray, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
Motion carries. Review and approve the meeting minutes. 6/10/21. I know we were doing some COVID testing too, weren't we, today? Did you
Um,
guys see those?
yeah,
I don't know where I'm from. Yeah, we're still testing for, the COVID, so I think
I
it
think we
went back.
were in Bagley yesterday. They're at Shooting Star today, and then they'll be in Rice Lake tomorrow.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Tomorrow?
Yeah,
What's that?
or today they are, sorry. This was last night.
We're in it today?
Yeah. They're, I think, over at the Bagley
Wow.
Casino, they're doing it.
You got a typo on page 609. Secretary file, sends your discussion of coordinators for each district, 1, 1, and 3. Got it?
Oh,
You forgot another capital I, huh?
yes.
Oh, hey, Bob, did Kathy leave? Oh, we're sitting at the RBC, so. All right. All right, then, thanks, we're good. You're welcome. All right, guys. Motion to approve the minutes for
Motion.
6/10 of 2020. Motion by Umsey, second.
Second.
Second by Ray, all in favor?
Paul?
Motion carries.
Did she?
Yeah, she should be here to reset. Calendar review next. I know we don't have, a real lot of stuff. I know we have a MICA meeting today again at 1:30. You been on those meetings, Hums?
I haven't been, no. I'll get on that one today though.
What else is there? I know, like today's like I think one of the things I know I've been getting a lot of calls about is the elections, and I know that today's last day or something that
They file appeal, yeah.
they can file an appeal. So I know that's something going on today too. So all right, what else here? Well, one of the things two guys I was pushing was that ICW training stuff. So I know that Lori York and sent a letter to get funding for training for all the social workers across the state. So I think that, you know, hopefully they'll be funding that. I know one of the things I got back from the state representatives is that it wasn't in the governor's budget, so I asked for that. And also for the water stuff, I know talking to the tribal leader calls every day at 10:30, we're talking about some of the water, the mining stuff that's up in the Arrowhead area, and, you know, kind of up to date that, talking to Frank and talking to some of the other tribal leaders about protecting our water and being more, you know, in tune with that. So, you know, we can try to slow down the mining process. So, all right. Maybe we got Kathy joined. All right, next up is Scott Omelette and Pat Butler. Pat, you on the call?
Oh, she's right there.
Is Pat? Oh, I just see Scott coming. Hi.
I was worried you were gonna head up to the casino, Kathy.
I thought that's where I was going.
Morning, Kathy. It's good to see you.
Yes, good to see you.
And then all of a sudden it's just gonna pour out, right?
Yeah, and then, well,
All right, Scott, go ahead. Or Pat's up, I mean. I'm
Joint
sorry.
venture?
Joint venture. So, we had a couple of conversations and had, a request out there to go to Maida, Washington, view the behavior health building that's now, pretty much finished inside and out, with a few touches left to do, but there was consideration of using that or part of that building for clinical space or joint venture space, or retrofitting it to be joint venture. So we did walk through the building. We did have Todd and Pete there from area office, and we did have, and Keith, yes, and then Clinton was with us to give us the tour. So the space is very beautiful, but it is definitely set up for a different kind of clinical application. And so the ceilings are very, very high in a lot of places. There's windows around the whole bottom of the facility, so it'd be very difficult to retrofit that into a clinical space. And the area behavioral health did say they could use all of that space. And if we did try and put a temporary clinic in there or do any piece like that, we would have the back part of that building, which is a very small area. And within that piece, there's only 2 bathrooms. So again, that would not work for a clinical application. So all of that infrastructure would now have to be torn out. The building is a stick-built building, so it doesn't meet the industrial standard of joint venture. And then everything, the floors and everything would have to be correct to put more water in there. If there's no way dental would work in there very well, nor x-ray would not be available. There would not be the drive-through pharmacy window. That was a big part of the joint venture project. So in essence, there'd also been a question about having an A&E company come in and look at how much that would cost, looking at certain portions of that building to be retrofitted, torn out, replaced to be clinical space. And just to do that would be an expensive piece, probably just to hear that, you know, the cost of what we wanted to do would be ND to retrofit within clinical space, and we still would not have a clinical space that's any better than it is right now in the Native Wash building there currently.
You know, it was the same view of Pete and Todd and Keith that are in construction from BIA that, you know, we wouldn't be in any better shape than we are currently in the current building, and the cost to do it would be outrageous. And then once they vacated, then would it have to be retrofitted back to the original use as well. So it was a unanimous idea that it was a poor choice to do that.
We
What
didn't,
place was that?
which one?
To change it.
We had some requests come to check on the possibilities of doing that. We didn't bring any numbers because just to get an A&E company in there would be an expensive venture to find out how much more it would cost to make all those changes. So it could be anywhere between $100,000 and $200,000.
Thank you.
Just for that walkthrough and estimate of what those changes would have to be and how much that would cost. And that was the 3 people from area office who do this and have done this kind of work for years. That was their estimate.
Well, I
And it
think
could
that,
even be more.
discussion we were having was not to move a joint venture into it. It was just to utilize it as a clinic area, you know, so they don't have to go to the old one over there in
Right.
Native Wash, you know.
And it wouldn't work very well for that either. There just isn't, the building plan didn't include that, so all of the necessities that would have to be there just for 2 bathrooms would never be enough. There's no.
They got more than 2 bathrooms in the old clinic.
I don't know for sure if they do.
Well, yeah, they have one for our lab, and then they have one for it's,
You know, that's kind of, I think what the discussion was actually about was we're trying to just get it as a clinic for now, you know, to get out of that
To
old
upgrade, we had talked
that old
about that too.
building over there, yeah.
Yeah. And then the clinical space, all the outside walls have windows in them, that are big windows, so that's another piece that's not very good for clinical application. And so that would need doing something with all that structure on that side. Because the rooms would not be very private in that sense. And each of those rooms do not have a sink in them. Which is kind of, if you were doing something now, you would probably want that in the exam room. You would have a wash sink in each room.
Well, I mean, I know as council, we talked about joint venture, you know, multiple times, and, you know, I guess we looked at, how it was gonna be paid. You know, the thing I looked at is joint venture is already in the green book, you know, it's already budgeted in 2021. You know, it lasts 20 years. You know, I mean, the office space, what IHS is gonna use will make the payment on the building. I mean, you think about the building, if we get even if we loan them the money from our third-party revenues, I mean, they'll pay it back within 20 years, or even Scott can go out and get a loan, partial loan for it. I know there's USDA loans out there. Then the amount of jobs it's gonna create, I mean, just for Native Wash area, to build it and also to work in there. I mean, it's gonna create a lot of positions, and remember, IHS is paying 80% of all those wages in there. So, I mean, there's lots of money that comes in behind this, and, you know, like I said, I mean, it's like, it doesn't cost the tribe nothing except probably the paperwork that we have to sign to get it built. So I know that, I mean, we finance it, but I mean, and then Scott can find a way to finance it. I mean, it's the key to our healthcare systems. Like I said before, you know, it's like, this is something for our kids and our grandkids, you know, and this is something that, you know, one day when we get a lot more tribal members is like, I mean, we'll be able to have some healthcare for our grandkids. So I think it's important that we look at it and consider it again, and I hope that, you know, that we get this going, because I'm not sure how long this is going to be on the table. I mean, this is once in a lifetime thing by IHS, which is given White Earth is joint venture, because this doesn't come around very often. You know, when joint ventures is awarded to a tribe, it's because of the healthcare systems. And the White Earth Clinic today is the oldest clinic in the United States. So this is why it's so important that we get this approved with all the rest of the healthcare. I know Umzi talked about Pine Point. We have the money to to expand the clinic out there. I know Ray talked about the clinic in the community center. We can get that done. We can get all this all done at one swoop. We'll have healthcare for all of our band members across the reservation. So I think it's important that we approve this, because I think, like I said, it's free to us. I mean, Pat talked about rental space. I mean, even the building and the buildings that we have existing now, I know that IHS and the government pays, what do they pay?
And you can check, it's called a 105 lease, and so, because we have 638 or health services or behavioral health services in those buildings, we're now eligible for this 105 lease, which Scott has the paperwork on and probably understands that better than I do, but it is an opportunity to have a return in income from the federal government paying rent for the building, the behavioral health building in Nadawash, and actually even the health building that we're in here in White Earth. And so it would be a substantial amount.
So this is something new that we became aware of. And what we have to do is go out and get kind of a real estate appraisal more for the fair market value of the rent of the existing health building in White Earth and now the new Nadawash Mats and Moms building. And we get this fair rental agreement, kind of a real estate appraiser or a market appraiser come in and say, what is the fair market value of those two buildings? And it is a lease that the federal government will then pay us as we continue to use those buildings. And they pay it on the fiscal year, so the fiscal year ends 9/30. So no matter if we did Nadawash joint clinic or not, we need to push this forward for Mats and Moms and the healthcare building now soon, so we can get paid for current fiscal year and then get paid for next fiscal year in a few months from now. And it's all laid out here. It would be a substantial amount. I mean, it's going to be between those two buildings, it might be $500,000, you know, and that money would then go towards maintaining those buildings, would go to reducing our cost, things of that nature, because if we don't do them, I mean, we still pay to maintain the health building, we're gonna pay to maintain the Nadawash building. So additional kind of free money that we came across. You know, they talked about if and when we get the joint venture building built in Nadawash, they've talked about giving us the old building. Now, maybe we want it, maybe we don't want it, but if we want it and we put a healthcare service in there, we could then lease that back on the same 105 lease to the federal government as well. So some additional money that can be utilized, whether we're making payments possibly on the building, because we can use health dollars or third-party billing dollars or general fund dollars to pay the loan payment or pay ourselves back, whatever, you know, the council ends up deciding to do.
Would we have bids out
For what?
for that clinic?
Well, the bids were put out, you know, a couple years ago, and they have to rebid it now. They'd have to rebid it. They'd have to do some
Also, can you get that out?
engineering work to make sure that the water and sewer lines coming from that Mats and Moms hasn't changed anything. So they're gonna have some work to do there, and then they have to rebid the whole project.
And the lagoon system more or less capable of handling that now? I think that was part of the.
That was part of, before that happened, partly because of joint venture being on the docket.
You know, the question has been raised a number of times. When it was originally on the docket, there was whole trees inside the building and outside, I think, in the foyer. And that has been talked about. I've heard back and forth, maybe we should include it, maybe we shouldn't include it. I mean, it was about a $500,000 additional cost. You know, it could be included or excluded. If it was excluded, design would have to be done a little bit differently. It could be included. I mean, whichever the council decided, but it was an expensive add-on.
But right now, Scott, with the, you know, if we don't use our third-party money to finance it, is there, the money market's pretty low up here to borrow if we have to go?
Well, the loan market in general for regular banks and lending institutions are as low as they've been in a long time. You know, they could go lower, but there's a better chance they're gonna go up than down.
And Pat, IHS, the joint venture, will pay the rent payments?
Actually, what we get in the payment would be the 105 lease.
Yeah, the leases, yeah.
Because we also get a staffing package because there is space in that joint venture project for behavioral health and health services to also be in that building, like they are in the current IHS now. So, and we get additional staffing for that in the staffing package, that those dollars come to the tribe because of our 638 AFA. So that is, again, about $800,000 to $1 million in staffing dollars coming to health and behavioral health in that package.
But we do not actually get any rent on the joint venture from the building. That, they get that rent free,
Okay.
We have to build the building, we get the staffing package.
yes.
But on our other buildings outside of that, we would be eligible for that 105.
And how long does that 105 last? Is there a guarantee on that, or?
It's been around for quite some time. They just never really talked about it. I think it was probably about a year ago that it started to become more touted, and I think they put more money into it. So it's been around for some time. How that looks in the future, that's
No, that's
unpredictable.
Yeah.
I think that the good thing is IHS dollars are continually looked at, and if we keep lobbying for more money because the image area is so low, there's only hope that it will keep funding.
And that's something I want to tribal
That's
health.
the key word, hope.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's not a guarantee.
we have to have hope.
But there is not anything on the horizon that we are aware of that they're talking about throwing it out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it can't happen.
Yeah, that's not.
I think it's more cost effective for the federal government to pay rent than to build new facilities. And so it's probably a pretty popular idea at this point in time.
So you're asking them to go for the 105 venture then, or?
Well, yes, first, that'd be definitely one thing, is we want to move forward on that. And we're gonna have to, you know, hire an outside consultant that would do a real estate market rate rental thing. Because if we do a poor job, we'll get poor reimbursement. And the better job we do to justify what the fair market value is for rental property, the more we'll get from the federal government. And, you know, it's kind of like that first year. The first year is a baseline, and they'll probably go up with inflation after that. So we want to make sure our number is good. I don't know what the cost will be. I mean, I would think it might be $10,000 to do two buildings, the current health building and the current behavioral health building in Nederland. But I mean, that money will be then returned in no time, because once we get it and sign it, you know, we'll get payment for the current fiscal year we're in. And then we'll use that same number to get fiscal 21's rent as well.
So the first step is to get the appraisals done.
Appraisal done in the paperwork. Yep.
I'm fine with that. Get a motion on that, or what?
Yeah, wake up, Ken. Just come here now. All right, we're gonna do a motion on the rental part of it, Kathy, and the 105, so we can get an appraisal of our office space for IHS to contract that office space, so we can get a premium rentee in there. And then we'll go out and we'll get them appraised our office space that we have open, so. Motion to approve the office space.
I make that motion.
Motion by Umsey, second.
Second.
Second by Kathy, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mo,
Following on that, Chair,
what's that? What do you say?
silent on that.
Oh, something. I don't know, what do you guys think about joint venture? I'm not sure if you guys ever want to talk more about moving forward with joint venture, or, I mean,
When are we gonna start? That's all I wanna know.
Well, I gotta get different bids now,
That's
right?
a couple weeks
Well,
off.
we'd have to, if you were pursuing it, we'd have to get new bids. Now, I mean, we somewhat got a black eye last time because it looked like it was going forward and we got bids, and then it was decided to put it on hold. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of the contractors got pissed off at the time. You know, they put a lot of work into getting bids, and, you know, that's Whiter's right to just decline all bids if you want to. But the positive thing was at that time is there was two major projects, the joint venture clinic and Mats and Moms. So, you know, we got somewhat of a black eye, but they were still able to go in the direction of the Mats and Moms building. You know, are you gonna approve it? Are you gonna approve it, not approve it? Are you gonna approve it with, depending upon how the bids come in? You know, that's your council's decision.
How much money, well, we're gonna use behavioral health dollars, how much of that behavioral health dollars are available for that? If we gotta pay back 17 million back to the state.
Well, the last time I looked, they had about 40 million. So that'd leave about 23 million.
can we approve to get the numbers to us, to at least prove look at the financial package?
I think you need to look at that, and I think you also have to look at the bids again.
Should
Motion.
we do some work to try and update the bids without going back and actually bidding it? I wonder if Pete and Todd would have some.
Because all the water lines there and the sewer lines and like Umsey said, the lagoons there, I mean, a lot of that stuff is already there, so hopefully the price came down quite a bit to 12 million or something, you know?
You know, I think there was originally an idea for an attachment between the two buildings, and it was about $900,000. And I'm hearing now that people probably would prefer not to have that attachment. I mean, I think that Pete and Todd and Keith could maybe give us a ballpark estimate.
I don't know, I think they have to go back to it. Because it depends on those trees and all of those things.
Okay. So then we're gonna have to spend some money for the A&E. I mean, that might be $100,000.
I know we had that, what is it, the environmental assessment?
That's been done.
Okay.
But I think for confidentiality purposes, I think it should be separate themselves, you know?
Yeah, it was decided to not have that connection between there. It was a difficult piece to man, and to security-wise, it would have been an issue for both sides of that tunnel. So that's been taken off. The Moms and Mats building wasn't built with it, and the new clinic, or the joint venture clinic, did not have that on there anymore either. So that would be a savings from that.
And a holistic healing room and outdoor space would be better without that attachment as well. Because that was kind of adjusted.
And then if they were attached, then there would be a dispute about who's gonna maintain the grounds and who's gonna maintain the buildings and, you know, all that kind of stuff going on too.
Territorial.
Yeah,
Well, and it makes it much better for the flow of trucks. You know, it's designed with a drive-around building for things like the MRI truck and delivery trucks. Or once we put in the attachment, then we needed to drive into Mats and Moms and back in.
Yeah.
And it, you know, creates potential problem that we wouldn't have if there's not a connection.
well, I think you guys need to look at in the plan or whatever's gonna happen, bring it forward again.
You need a motion on that?
What was the amount before on the last bids? How much would the tribe have to to kick in to get that clinic built? Do you remember?
What the actual construction bid cost?
Well, I remember Scott said that, remember, Ted, you said that you can get 7 million from USDA and we can get money, so.
Well, we could get money, maybe 7 to 10 million from tax credits. USDA, the last time we were working on this hard, they were telling us you needed a rejection from 3 banks.
What about the CARES money?
Cannot build buildings.
Okay, good.
Maybe, he said, too.
Well, they talk about temporary homeless shelters, temporary health shelters.
I mean, the tax credit stuff, he said.
The tax credit stuff could be used if like MMCDC has tax credits at that time. Last year they got tax credits, and I'm sure they're putting in for more tax credits. I've not heard anything at the government level that they're talking about eliminating them either.
I think the last number that came out was what? 13 million or something?
I think it was at 14 million one time, and then a different time they were looking at it was up to around 18, but I think it came back down a little bit, so we're probably around that 15, 16.
You know, and it depends upon, there's the construction costs and then there's the financing cost as well. Because like tax credits, there's more cost to do the financing, but you get the benefit on the back end.
Well, like I said, it's something for our, not only us, but our children, so.
Do you want us to go back out to BIA and talk to them and come back with what a A&E cost would be to get an updated estimated cost of the project would be?
Yeah, we gotta have something to look at,
Before you make a motion to spend.
Yeah, and then look at the financing stuff, Scott. I mean, that'd be good. And get us back something where we don't spend our money on it, if we're gonna,
Yep.
we get some type of other financing, would be great. You agree with that, Kat?
Yes, I do. Much better.
All right, because anything, okay, what's next?
Long time ago.
I have one thing as long as I'm here. Can I sneak in just a little conversation on the fitness centers?
Yes.
Because they're asked to put out a plan and they are working on that, but I just wanted to bring forth that I do have some concerns about the fitness centers because our fitness centers are very small. We don't have staff in there 24/7 or even 8 hours a day. And what people do in a fitness center is they're exercising, so they're breathing heavier and they're sweating. And both of those things are liquids that contain COVID possibly. And so then as you're also running, boxing on the treadmill, you're excreting that in a forceful sense. It can leave the body and fly a much greater distance than normal. We also we have one sanitizing machine. We tried to get 4 more way back in March. We still haven't gotten any more. But those centers cleaning would be another issue with them because without staff in there all the time going around wiping down machines, people are not real diligent about that, and it would have to be a more intensive wipe down than we're doing in regular times. So that would be an issue, is keeping that equipment clean and having the equipment that people wanted in the numbers that they might want to use them. And the one center that I would not open at all is the one in our building at the health side because of dialysis being there and the one doorway going into dialysis. We have to keep that specifically for dialysis clients only, just because of their greater risk of COVID, and if they did contact COVID, it's a greater risk on their survival. So that one we would not even consider opening. Plus, that back area of that would be is the medication call line, and so that person is also quarantined back in that side. So that one we just cannot open. We have our fitness people, most of them working with food delivery right now. And if we were to open one, the one we may consider would be in Monoman, but it still would not be able to be staffed full time or open those extended hours. And it might be something we just want to look at for a little while to consider having our fitness people do some videos or some outside kind of courses that people would use, or some different options rather than opening those centers. The Pine Point Center is manned largely by community. It's also very small. There's not a lot of supervision there, as is Rice Lake. It's even smaller. So we're just not in the best sense of the possibilities of opening those fitness centers being a great help to some, but a greater risk to more. And so that's kind of what we'll be moving ahead with, but just so you know, there is rationale behind not opening them right now.
That's fine.
Well, I know the governor opened up last Wednesday for 25%, but I'm not sure, I mean, if we have limited hours for them, because I had like 3 or 4 messages to me about just maybe the Mahoma one.
But our spaces are so small compared to what spaces are when you go to a fitness center in a community, a bigger community. So the one I would consider we'll work on is Mahoma, but it just is really a much more risky situation because of what happens in a fitness center.
But Pat, you gotta realize that we have a high number of diabetes. I mean, it's important that we look at health, and I think that we have to, you know, if we're not gonna utilize our fitness centers, then we need your staff to get our groups together, to get our people to go walking with them, or we gotta do something alternative. We can't just shut down our fitness centers and expect our people.
Well, as you just talked about, having some virtual stuff.
Yeah,
if
some
we have to.
virtual stuff or some.
Yeah, because
some groups
we need
like
our
that.
staff to be more proactive out there with our community members that, you know, that need to ride bikes or go bike riding or do something, you know, so. I mean, that's something that we get a $700,000 grant for diabetes. We gotta have something out there for prevention, so. That's all I'm saying is like, we gotta, you know, and I think with COVID being here, I think all of us have gained weight, so I know that that's one big thing that's coming across. You know, I know everybody's complaining about everybody getting chubby.
What'd you look at me for?
That's all I'm saying is that we have to get something alternative out there. You know, I think that we could open up a fitness center, I mean, because we do have staff in the moment, and just maybe open one up for now and just to see how it goes. And I mean, 25%, I know, keep it from limit hours from like noon to 8. I don't know if we bring back a staff member or 2 or whatever.
We have people back, we have some of them back, but also they're gonna be working on those alternative measures. So we'll put together some plan. I don't know that it will be extended hours though, or long
Or
hours.
10 to
just because-
6, that's even fine. I mean, just get people in there to work out. I mean, because I know people want to lift weights, and that's one thing you can't do out here. Of course, you can walk and ride bikes, but people want to lift weights or do more than.
Right, and we have to reconfigure those areas so that
Yeah.
they're safe, so that social distancing is gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
And what's available in the centers, no one's ever gonna be totally happy because some things aren't gonna be able to be there.
Mhm.
There just isn't enough room.
Yeah.
We're not a big enough area in any one of our centers for that to happen.
And that's probably a talk that we could have down the road, you know, with our third-party money again, building a community health building, a big one, you know. So that's something that we should look at down the road.
You know, we're gonna be running out of behavioral health money pretty soon.
It's not gonna last forever.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
All right.
thanks for letting me sneak that in, I appreciate it.
Depending on behavioral health money for every damn thing.
Scott, I think you're still up for the, oh, you're okay, you're good. Good.
There's a-
Pretty much.
See you later.
See you. Thanks, Pat.
Just that 7-page document that we can send to them, or we're shortening it up.
Okay. So maybe I'll just wait till Lindsay returns.
It's gonna be hot outside today too. It was muggy this morning.
Make it the 90s.
They said tomorrow's gonna be 100 in Fargo. What
Really?
they said
Are
tomorrow?
you kidding?
Yeah, 100 degrees. Or is that today?
I don't
I think
know.
it's today, I know tomorrow, I think.
I don't have air. I don't look forward to that stuff at all.
Probably tomorrow, huh?
Scott, that last That money we get next year, is that, can we use that differently, or is it all part of that, the same standards as the other?
Same standards as we got. We have not seen any change in the standards or the extension. The extension is more likely possible, I hope. That seems to be reasonable. But they don't, I mean, they're probably, Republicans and Democrats probably are fighting too much in Washington to agree on anything.
Well, then we're gonna have a dilemma, no?
Yeah.
A lot of money. Do we can't build our health center with it?
Are you sure we can?
I think I handed you something out that said allowable and non-allowable.
I think I'm gonna call Michael Leakey directly and ask him if they could spend that care money in the hospital. I'll get a hold of Dan Friday. We'll find a way to pay for it, so.
Well, let's get started.
Okay, so I handed out one sheet of paper and a second grouping of papers to you about the CARES funding. And down on the bottom of the one page that I have all the numbers on, we got originally 20.6 million earlier back in May, and then on Monday we got another 8.8. So we've got $29.4 million of the CARES money. Now, if the Alaskan tribes, villages lose the lawsuit, we could get a little bit more, and it would be less than that 8.8. It might be $1 million or $2 million.
Yep.
You know, can't count on that. Never know when those lawsuits are going to be done. So we have 29.4. And the second grouping of papers I sent out is on page 2. It kind of talks about expenditures allowable, and on page 3 it talks about expenditures that are not allowable. And in general, it talks about, you know, direct care, public safety, public health, human services, to provide services because of COVID, things of that nature. It talks about food delivery, it talks about distance learning, things of that nature. You know, I looked at, currently they're saying the money has to be spent by December 30th of 20. So starting in April, that's about 9 months, from April through December. One of the areas that are definitely allowable, it said, you know, if your job is changed to COVID, and they talked about public health, public safety, health, and human services. And then they came out and said another thing, we will automatically presume that all work in public safety and public health is COVID related. That's good news. So now I don't have to debate whether my public safety is doing COVID work or not. I shouldn't have to get in trouble because they automatically presumed it to be. Public health is grants and third-party billing and is covered by those resources. Public safety, most of it is in the general fund. So now there is a part of the general fund that I'm going to be able to pay with COVID money, CARES money. So I looked at public safety. It includes security, tribal police, dispatch, community service officers, and the Norman police. And their annual budget for 20 was almost 3 million, 2.9 million. So then I came up with a monthly figure. It's like $246,000 a month. And I said, well, maybe we fund them for the next 9 months, April through December. At that $246 a month, we could easily budget $2.2 million of this CARES money to cover public safety.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I think that's one way, and it helps us cover the general fund at the same time between now and December 31st. we all have more questions than answers. How long is this gonna last? So on my second grouping, I got the EOC Command Center and EMP Food Prep and Delivery and the food shelf. Well, this money still has to be spent by December 31st, and EOC is about $225,000 a month, and EMP Food Prep and Delivery is about $216,000, and food shelf is about $146,000. That's almost $600,000 a month that's spent there. Well, is it gonna last another month, 2 months? Is it gonna last 12 months? I don't know. But I put in, maybe we run it for 9 months, because that's December 31st as well. Well, 9 months of budget allocation for those 3 areas is $5.3 million. You know, could be spent there. Human services, constituent services, Ben came in and said, you know, we're gonna have more need, and he figured 200,000 in constituent services, he figured 25,000 in homeless, 25,000 in financial services. He was requesting $250,000 out of this money. Now, the good news is, just yesterday, we got information that the BIA Self-Governance Fund provided us that welfare fund that we had never typically gotten before, and it was $211,000, and can be used for things like this 250 that Ben had requested. So I didn't remove it. So I mean, he has, you know, 211,000 of the 250, and I haven't read the whole thing, but you know, money. He's going to need more money there, and obviously the BIA recognized that and gave him 211. Water and Sewer Department, really to feel safe to provide safe water and sewer, they were requesting $390,000. You know, and I believe that safe water, safe sewer is as big a health concern as anything. In my mind, it should be allowable to spend CARES money on that, because if we have either of them, we're probably going to have additional problems. Terry Darko asked for a request for summer program for the kids, an at-home program. She's been working with the food distribution, and she goes to some houses and kids are sitting on the steps, and seems like they don't have anything to do and nothing safe to do, and just kind of waiting for them to show up so that at least they can talk to somebody. And she has a request to put together a weekly program that's culturally based and educational and learning, you know, for the summer, because Boys and Girls Club is not going to be open. And she requested $200,000 to put that program together, a couple staff people, and delivery of the product. I said, you know, we want to combine delivery maybe with food, you know, be efficient with everything and provide as much money as we can to whatever the program is for the children. So requested $200,000. Essential PPE and cleaning supplies for RBC and Shooting Star. Every department, you know, facilities, the casino, every department is going to need reasonable PPE to stay safe and do the right things for our coworkers and our constituents and the people that come into our building. Shooting Star had put in a budget of $658,000 just for them for opening of their casino and running it during the short period of time. So on the continuance of government, we said we shouldn't take department by department. We should just say, what does RBC and Shooting Star need? And we're going to request $1 million, you know, and split between the two organizations and do the stuff that makes us safe.
Good.
One thing that came up is thermal scanners at Shooting Star. And there's a question about this. You know, how long is this problem going to last? The main thing is, as you walk in, there will be a camera and it'll take your temperature as you walk in. And if there's people walking in, you know, it'll be faster than handhelds. It'll be less probably staff members than handhelds. The other thing is they'll tie it with face self-recognition. So Umzi, if you walk in and you have a temperature and you get past us, we know who you are. Now we know who you had contact with, so we can prepare those people that maybe have you possibly, or first of all, are you sick, and maybe are you spreading it? And, you know, the longer this COVID problem is around, the more valuable this is. If this is gone in middle of August or sooner, some people are gonna probably say it was a waste of money. I don't know how long COVID's gonna be around, but we could do this and then we can tie it with facial recognition. After COVID is gone, we can continue to use these monitors for facial recognition in the building. So if we got somebody that has been kicked out of the building, when we see them right away, we can alert to have them removed. If somebody is doing something dangerous, if somebody has a warrant, if we want to spot somebody that shouldn't be in the casino, this will do those types of things. You know?
And all this stuff here that you're talking about now, that's all will be covered under the CARES Act money?
Yes.
Yep, 9.7.
So that's 400,000 for, I think it was 409,000 for the cameras, and they have to do some distancing inside this room where all the cameras are, where they watch them. So that's about $409,000. So that's like $9.7 million that would be eligible to be used in these areas if you thought they were a good idea. Okay, so in addition to that, on our COVID wish list for capital equipment, we have $32.2 million. So if I add the 32.2 and the 9.7, it's about $42 million of requests. I only got 29 million. Well, people put on the wish list buildings that are $13 million. I can't build buildings.
Yep.
I could do temporary public medical facilities and other measures to increase COVID-19 treatment emergency. Temporary public medical facility.
Scott, will it pay for trucks?
No.
It won't pay for no equipment? What about a well truck? The driller own wells? We gotta spend.
I would have to look at that.
Because we can spend our own, we'll save a ton of money if we get our own, IHS can contract us.
I would have to look at that.
Look at that one, because that's like $1 million right there.
Because, you know, we have $42 million of requests between capital and expenditures. We got 29 million of expenses. But if I take out my $13 million of buildings, I have they about equal that. The capital expenditures and the operating expenditures on this list are both about 29 million. Now, we're still gonna have to look at that list and say, are all the things on the list truly relevant? Now, I'm sure some things may not be relevant. We may come up with other things that say, well, what about this? And we should consider those. But, you know, as of today, what we would like to request or for you to consider is two things. Should we be allocating maybe this 9.7 million for public safety, EOC, food prep, food shelf, human services, water, sewer, summer youth program, PPE, and thermal scanners, which is 9.7. And then our second thing is we were going to get together with the continuance of government group and look at everything on our wish list and see, first of all, if they would be relevant and apply, and then a set a priority level of, you know, which things should be highest on the priority list. Because one of my questions is, when is COVID gonna, if we have to spend it by December 31st, are we gonna have a lot more, are we gonna have such a bad pandemic that we're gonna spend more money than 10 million just on reaction? So do we hold off spending on capital equipment, you know, for some time to see how bad it gets? Because is it gonna be bad in July, August, or is it gonna be bad in October, November?
Because they talk about that
Yeah.
second peak
Yes.
that's coming.
So, you know, when I talked to Ed Snetzinger, I asked him about this question, and he said, we expect our high, based upon the best information they have, is the last half of July, first half of August, to peak, at least the first time here in White Earth. So he said, if you were gonna buy capital equipment, he goes, I would like it if you could wait till about August 21st. You know, get everything ready, and see if by the middle of August, if things are worse than we expect, or if they're not as bad as we expect. The thing about this COVID money, it has to be spent. It cannot be obligated. So we cannot order something and get it in March and pay for it in March. That's not gonna qualify. So we're gonna have to actually at least pay and most likely take possession of whatever we're buying between now and December 30th.
Do you want us to approve the 9.7 today then?
I would suggest that you do. I'm looking for discussion, what you think about this $400,000 of thermal scanners, because they're scanners and the thermal scanners are about 200,000, and then the software going with facial recognition is about 150, 160, and it makes up that 360 of the 400. Because like I said, if COVID lasts the longer it lasts, the more valuable these scanners are in my mind. If it lasts a month, somebody's gonna say it was a waste of money. I can't foresee the future.
But it's not our money. One would think about it, it's COVID money, right?
That's true. And the facial recognition can be good for us long-term after COVID's gone.
But yeah, even as soon as it's hit, I know that they used to be dirt cheap, those,
Yeah, of course, they're higher now.
yeah, but they're like, they tripled their.
Price gouging.
They've been
Yeah,
price gouging us now,
They might
so.
be price gouging, and there's not a lot of people, from what I'm getting from Christie's, there's not a lot of casinos in Minnesota, in our immediate North Dakota area that are doing this. But, maybe this would be good to publicize it once we get them in. We're the only casino in the area doing this to try and keep you safe and healthy. I mean, it could be a good message.
Is the air handling system, has that been talked about too?
That is included in the $32 million.
That'd be good. That's a good idea.
Air handling was originally at 3.6 and it's went to 4.2 because they had to add ultraviolet light to it that makes it even better for COVID and things of that nature. So that's on the list. But, I'd look at you authorizing or considering to authorize this 9.7 million for these budgeted areas, and for us to go back to the COG and set priorities and identify the things on the list that are eligible and ineligible, and come back at a later time and say, okay, we basically got 30 million. We allocated 10 million today. We got 20 million. Do we want to allocate and spend 5 of that million right away, 10 of that million, or are we going to spend it all? We can have a lot of different plans, so we can set priorities.
Well, I think the main thing is that police thing. I think we gotta get that approved. I mean.
Well, yeah,
That's common sense to do that, but I'm just saying that, do you want us to approve all of that 9.7, or do you just want us to approve?
I would ask that you approve the full 9.7 motion.
Motion by Umsey, second by Kathy, all in favor?
Do you have any questions on Terry Darko's home program?
What do you mean our home program?
Is that allowable?
Yes, because it would be distance learning.
Oh.
So she's going to provide and send home culturally activities for children to work on.
And one of the things I want to do too with some of that food bank is to get some of those managers out of there and put them back in their jobs, and then they should be training our band members up there. So that's something I want to do is, like, I know we have some employees that are working up there are making manager plus wages up there. So, those are some things that we have to be fiscally responsible too, is like, I think we have plenty of people that would want an opportunity to learn how to be an emergency manager or food bank, whatever. We don't have to do it tomorrow, but at least have them train the new people that are coming on, so. And then you could put these people that are up there back into their original jobs, and then have our own people working up there. But it's just, I don't know, what do you think, Doms?
That's fine.
That's something that we should strive towards anyways, huh? So,
Okay.
yeah, but eventually everybody back to their work, so. Yeah, so, Ray, were you in favor of that, Ray?
But we train these people in, and then all of a sudden the COVID goes away, then what happens to those people?
We'll find something, I guess.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to start working on our 2020 budget. Some people, or in the general fund, they'll go back to, like everything in Boys and Girls Club is in the general fund. Depend upon what the budget is for 2021 in the general fund. Hopefully the other people that are working, hopefully it can go back to their grant, or maybe they go back in indirect if they're indirect, or they go back to third-party billing. Hopefully there's their original job back.
The reservation, was he in favor of that?
He didn't say.
Ray, were you in favor of that vote that, Umsey motion, Kathy second on the CARES Act money to spend a few of it on some of these expenditures?
Yeah, as long as it's kosher, I'm with it.
Okay, all right, then all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. What's that, Ray?
He said aye.
Oh, okay.
No, I just think as long as it's kosher, I'm with it.
Okay, we good? All right, thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Ben, you're up. Well, you guys want to take a break?
Yeah.
Take a break. We'll take a little break, 10 minutes, we good?
Are you on there, Ben?
All right. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Say, Ben, did you get that
All right.
email I sent you yesterday?